Here we are. We are back with a actual tier list for once, and I'm kind of sad because I had a prepared tier list. It's not done, and I didn't realize that I would have zero time tomorrow, which is when this will be going up. It's it's been a very hectic Friday Saturday situation, but we're here with what is it actually titled? Ranked Nintendo franchise tier list. We're just stealing it. I did add the not ranked because some of these will not be ranked. Um, yeah, we're gonna go through. We're gonna go through an order. I was gonna maybe do like low to high because I know most of it. But eh. So there's some games on here that qualify for a ridiculous amount of games. And some of them I don't know very well. There's only two specifically, which we'll get into. Uh, that I would probably put in not ranked, but we'll see how I talk my way into it. Um, First, we're gonna start with Wars or Advance Wars, which is the logo. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's a pretty rare thing to actually have played Game Boy Wars, Game Boy Wars Turbo, and specifically Game Boy Wars 2, which I think is probably one of the best ones. Uh, I really do think the War series is high class. It's really, really well done. It's almost an argument of whether I think it's low A or high B. I think it outclasses Fire Emblem in a lot of regards, which a lot of I guess history says that apparently Advanced Wars is the reason Fire Emblem even showed up in the West. I'm not sure how much I believe that, but hey, it's still one of those things that I think Advanced Wars is definitely like almost low A. It's good. It has some fantastic games, but there's some really oddball ones that come out. I'm specifically thinking about the original Famicom Wars. I think is not that good, but it's fine because it's the first game. But then you have, I think it's Game Boy Wars 3, which came out like a month before, or a couple months before Advance Wars hit the states. So that's how late of a Game Boy game it was, and it plays nothing like the Wars games. It's really weird. Not a big fan. Now we have Animal Crossing. I used to really love this series. I used to think Animal Crossing was like a really solid and probably would be A if we were to go back in time just five, no, more like 7, 8 years ago. With New Horizons and me realizing that while it's like busy work and that's fine, same with like The Sims and all that, I happen to think that it's a very mid offering for a series. I do understand a lot of people love that type of styling. It has a lot of quality in it. I'm never going to disregard that. Uh, and I do love New Leaf specifically and the original Animal Crossing, but maybe this is because so many of the games are the same to each other. I feel like it has this kind of flatline perspective that you always have for the series. You don't ever catch the high that you originally have. There's no lows, but it doesn't mean that you're catching any more highs. I'm gonna put that at the bottom of B, and it will stay bottom of B. It's still good. It has quality. It's not mid, but it's definitely like you're never getting anything. And I think Bayonetta's mid. I'm just gonna come out and say this. I think Bayonetta is really overhyped. I do think the first one has like a special case of being like a great game if you haven't played a lot of that style of game or even like that type of like pulse pounding action. Like I do understand that a lot of people maybe this was your first time, but I don't think it's that special. And also, I think the lore is really stupid. I don't really like the lore. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's pretty mid. Donkey Kong, we're gonna put in A. Now I'm gonna be brutally honest. I think the original arcade games are kind of shit, but I think this is gonna cover the Donkey Kong versus Mario games, and of course Donkey Kong Country, and sadly Donkey Kong. This might go down. It has some bad stinkers, but Donkey Kong Country is so good. I'm gonna leave it up here. This probably has more valleys than probably these two, but I do think it has a higher high. Donkey Kong has like Donkey Kong Country is probably the first one specifically, and Tropical Freeze are in my top like 40 games. Like if we weren't including copies, like I would pick Donkey Kong Country 1, but like if we included copies, then both are kind of in the talks for being up there. I don't think they would actually get farther than like 30, but I don't know. I haven't made a list with copies in forever. Maybe I'll do that one day. Dr. Mario, I think it's similar to Tetris, except I do think Dr. Mario's actually kind of boring. Um, I think it's also kind of. I feel like you get cheap shotted more in Dr. Mario, and this might be like kind of like biased because I think Tetris is really good, but I do think Dr. Mario isn't that spectacular. Uh, there are some games that I do think were like really good for their time, like the Wii one with online. That's really cool, but yeah. Fire Emblem. I did say that like technically Advanced Wars is like a better Fire Emblem for the most part. Um, and I agree with that for some of them, but I mean, I'll never forget going back and playing really shitty translations of the original Fire Emblems. I'll never forget trying to figure out just like all these different characters of Fire Emblem has this mystique that I don't think any other Nintendo series really has. And a lot of it has to do with most of it being lost to time. Advanced Wars could have it, but it's a series that stopped. Fire Emblem kept going, so it gets to cheat. F Zero, I think I used to put this at. I would put this back in the day, like right here, maybe right here. I think F Zero kicks ass. I think it's actually a fantastic series. I'm really sad it kind of died, but I don't think there's really a bad F Zero. There's some bad races in some games for F Zero, but I do stand by that F Zero is actually a pretty fantastic game. Golden Sun, I do think is overhyped. Still a good RPG time. Um, I think it's very, very overhyped. A lot of people use it as the introductory level, which don't get me wrong, it fits really well in that regard. I just don't think there's a lot to keep you in the genre. Kid Icarus is probably the only D tier. Kid Icarus Uprising is a good game. Every other one is really bad. I think they're really boring and sometimes just not even brutally hard, but brutally unfair. It's like one of those things of, oh, I see this, and it's just like, oh, this one can screen wrap. Why? But this one can't? It's whatever. It's really annoying. I think Kirby is. See, like Kirby Air Ride counts on this, which puts it higher. I think I am going to put it below Donkey Kong. I do think Kirby has the higher like quality overall, but personally I like Donkey Kong's difficulty. I like the games more personally. That's a bias coming in, but Kirby is really really strong. Luigi's Mansion, I think the first one's a glorified tech demo. I hated Dark Moon, and the third one's good, and so I'm gonna put this in. I mean, glorified tech demo doesn't mean it's bad, so I'm gonna put it at bottom of C, and it's gonna stay there. I do think 3 is good, and I do think the first one has like potential, but it just always had potential that never saw the light of day because Dark Moon, which was the sequel, didn't do anything. The arcade games, I guess, technically count, which I would probably put a little higher, but eh. Mario and Luigi, which where's Paper? Oh, Paper Mario. Mario and Luigi, I think it has a higher quality overall. I realize I've been saying that a lot, but I don't think they're that memorable. Um, but Bowser's Inside Story is really, really good. If you haven't played it, recommend it. I think I'm going to put it below Fire Emblem. Yeah. Mario Kart, I think you have a favorite Mario Kart, and it's usually the go-to. I do think Mario Kart isn't that impressive anymore. If we were to go back in the day, I would be like, double dash, woo! Or I would be like, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart Wii. But I think I don't know. I think Mario Kart 7 has really like lifted the shade that I was under of Mario Kart, where I was like, I don't think they actually know what they're doing. But I mean, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is really good. It's just I don't. It's not a game I see myself playing like dozens of hours, which I understand I'm an outlier in that regard. But it's just, eh. Mario Party. See, there's like some stinkers in here. I do think it's better than Mario Kart. I'm just wondering if it's an A tier. I'm gonna put it in B because even some of the like classic and good Mario parties have problems. 4 has boring boards. Um, you have like, of course, 1, 2, and 3. 1 has the shitty mini games. 2 and 3, like 2 is good, but 3 is just like, what are you doing? You of course have 9 and 10, which, and you have more recent games, but this includes like the e-reader Mario Party. This includes the stupid 3DS minigame garbage, which didn't even have the good minigames. Overall, Mario Party it's good, and if it didn't have those stinkers, it would probably be up here. But yeah, it gets lowered. Super Mario in general, I kind of have to give a lot of credit to Super Mario. Uh, I am gonna put it at the top of A because you have like Super Mario World, you have Super Mario Bros. 3, you have Super Mario Sunshine, you have Super Mario 64, which I'm not a big fan, but whatever. Galaxy is one of my favorite games of all time. Galaxy 2 is great. Odyssey, like you have these great games. Not to mention that some of the 2D offerings are pretty spectacular. I do think Wonder is trash. Not as like a trash game. I do think like the hype does not match the game at all. But hey, whatever. Metroid is probably up here. There's a couple Metroids that aren't great. I'm not gonna defend them, but I think like playing Zero Mission, playing Prime, Fusion, even going back and playing the Game Boy Metroid 2 one, going and playing Super Metroid. I think Metroid is honestly one of my favorites. Both Mother logos, which I'm pretty sure this is the proper one. I'm pretty sure. And I hate to be this guy. While Earthbound is a great game, I'm just gonna have to put it here. I understand a lot of people love this game to death. Earthbound specifically, it's one of their favorite. Like, ooh, blah, blah. As somebody who has owned this game, as somebody who's played through it a few times, it has a lot of quality that I'm not gonna sit here and say no to. Mother 3 is a great game if you go and play it. You have, of course, Mother by itself or Earthbound Beginnings if you're a garbage person. Like it, there's a lot of quality in this game series. I don't prefer it over some other ones, and that's why it's at the bottom of A. I I'm just I'm not gonna even put that on. Like it's not even not ranked, which we haven't even gotten to the not ranked. We have Paper Mario. If this is back in the day, Thousand Year Door Paper Mario, even into Super Paper Mario, this would probably be S. But we have a big problem. Sticker Star exists. Origami King was also pretty mid. I will say I prefer it over a lot of these games merely because of the original Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, and Origami King, while being mid, is still a playable game. I am going to put this above Fire Emblem because I know it'll piss somebody off. Pikmin, I think Pikmin 1 is good. I think Pikmin 2 is trash. I think Pikmin 3 is great in its own way, and I'm not going to get into any other ones because I don't really think it's going to change my opinion talking about it anymore. I think Pikmin is under Mario Party. I love Pikmin 1 in a lot of ways. It's my favorite one just because of the nostalgia for it, but yeah. Pokemon, I don't know if you know this, but I do in fact love Pokemon. If I'm saying this to other people, it's probably a B tier game. It's good, not anything spectacular, but we're including all the side games, so it just gets S. I'm sorry. Metroid beats it to me, but I think all the side games are insane. You have Pokemon Conquest, you have the Ranger games, Mystery Dungeon, Coliseum XD, Stadium 1 and 2 with the mini games, and bullshit rental program. Fuck that. You have the mainline games that are really, really good. Excuse me, I had like a hiccup or something. That'll come up and it'll sound awful. But Punch Out, I think, is honestly like, I think it's super solid. I actually think Punch Out is a really good game. and this isn't just like Punch Out, but Super Punch Out, and so on. It is a fantastic series. A little smaller. Rhythm Heaven, I'm not gonna rank because I played one. I've played one of them. I don't even know like any details of it. I didn't even really understand that there was that many sequels for it or re-releases. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I've played one. I'm not ranking it. I did enjoy it. It would probably be in B, but that can't be fair. Super Smash Bros. I used to really hate on this series. I used to think that like there was a lot of bottom garbage, and there kind of is. But I do think the bang for your buck on a Nintendo console is getting Super Smash Bros. Because the only one that has had crappy single player opportunities, well, two, is N64 and the Wii U version. I think straight up that the 3DS version had a decent one. Melee and Brawl had a lot going on. And then Ultimate, while I don't think the World of Light is fantastic, I think standout, it has the most amount of just what the hell am I doing? I'm using Banjo-Kazooie to beat up Piranha Plant. It's a wild, wild time. I do think it's bottom S merely because the Wii U version is pretty mid, like overall. But yeah, Splatoon. I've only played the one game, and a part of me wants to like not rank it, but it's all the same game. I understand there's more quality, but to me it's just B. I'm gonna put it at bottom. I do think it has a lot of cool stuff that maybe I would have gone into if I played, but whatever. Star Fox, they remade the game like 7 times, but it's still great. I am gonna put it at the bottom because Star Fox 2 technically has a full release and that game's ass. Star Fox Adventure is part of it, and I don't think that's that great of a game. But still A tier. This one I'm not gonna rank. I haven't played any of these actually. Well, that's not true. I haven't finished any meaningful amount of these games at all. Legendary Starfy, wild, but WarioWare, I'm gonna be brutally honest. It's kind of just mid. It's a lot like Mario Party in that it has a lot of low points, but I think WarioWare is pretty forgettable in a lot of regard. I do want to state that I do like these games. I just don't think they're that amazing. Xenoblade Chronicles, one of the most overhyped series. This is coming from somebody who loves the first game. Xenoblade, Xenoblade Chronicles X or whatever. I do think is not that great of a game. I think Xenoblade 2 is bad. And so I'm just going to actually put this at the bottom of B because I do think there's people hype this game to this series to oblivion, and I'm not even going to just stop. Please leave me alone. Yoshi's Cookies technically here. You have Yoshi's Island, you have Woolly World or whatever, Crafted World. Crafted World was mid. I'm going to put this at above. It could be Golden Sun. That's fine. I think there's a lot of low points for Yoshi. Yoshi's Story, though. Yeah, we'll put above Animal Crossing. Legend of Zelda, I have to put it up there. And then ARMS. I'm going to talk about Zelda in a second. I mean, where do I put ARMS? I think it was a fun little gimmick. But that's basically all it was. That's blasphemy to some people. Yeah, I think that's fine. But, we're going to organize these. I think The Legend of Zelda is probably up here. I prefer Metroid. I understand that's a different opinion. But I think, some of my favorite games are from Zelda. Link Between Worlds is my personal favorite. It's probably in my top 5 games of all time. Wind Waker's up there. Majora's Mask is up there. Twilight Princess, of course. Skyward Sword. Fuck Breath of the Wild. That game's ass. You have Minish Cap. You have even Spirit Tracks. I am gonna rank this. I'm gonna rank this here. I want to point out that these are tied merely because Phantom Hourglass exists, and Phantom Hourglass is one of the worst games I've ever fucking played. And this is coming from somebody who has played a lot of these games in these series, almost every single one. I think I'm missing one. Woo, the pinball one. Never played it. I don't think I'm missing any of these. I'm definitely not missing any of these Pokemon ones besides like Picross. Played all of these. Played everything besides like one or two, I'm sure. Donkey Kong, I have all of them. I know that. Kirby, I've played most of them. Like, I've played most of every one of these series in every regard. And I can tell you, Phantom Hourglass is one of the worst games in this entire list. I think it's worse than Kid Icarus. I'm like, this is me ranting about Phantom Hourglass, and maybe like I should save it for a tier list if I ever want to do a Zelda one. But Phantom Hourglass sucks so fucking hard. It's so bad. I do not understand people that defend it and think it is a time waster of a game. Every moment is capitalized with "Hey, go back." And even if it's a great moment for the DS, because hey, I do appreciate a Zelda game on the DS like that, it's ruined by the fact Spirit Tracks came out like a year later, like year and a half or two at most, and it's so much better. It controls better. I don't get frustrated, and there's gonna be like someone that's like skill issue. Fuck off. As somebody who has tried to enjoy Phantom Hourglass because I thought something was wrong with me, no, it is just bad. It is a bad game. It's the worst one on this list. I have changed my mind. Kid Icarus, you do not have the worst games here. Phantom Hourglass by a long shot. Oh my god. Ocarina of Time is also overhyped, and so is Link to the Past. Just letting you know. That's it. Nice little quick tier list. Sorry about the kind of quickness of this one. Didn't have a lot of time to record anything for tomorrow. I didn't realize I would have a bunch of appointments come up, but that's life. I'll catch you guys in the next one with hopefully actual stuff in the background.